Two people can come together and things don't work out between them, not because they are bad people, but because they just can't stay or can't do or whatever it is together. Talk to the children from a place of you are not being judgmental of your spouse.
Can we talk about life, love, and relationship?
Hello there, and thank you for joining us on this episode of Life, Love, and Relationships. The last time we spoke about co-parenting during difficult times. We are aware that sometimes, regardless of what you do, how you do it, sometimes relationships evolve to a place where both of you agree that the best course of action is separation, or in some cases, even as extreme as divorce. Even though we do not desire this, and the Bible encourages us that this is not something that God is happy about. Sometimes it's just the reality of life. And it doesn't mean that God loves these people less. So today we're going to look at co-parenting during separation or divorce. To look into this topic with me today is Coach Anekan. Coach Anekan, thank you for being with us.
My pleasure, Lord Kenny. It's always an honor. Your topics are always I call it soul searching. So coming up is always a delightful for me. Thank you.
Thank you for always making now the time for us. I think my first question to you would be, like I said, sometimes relationships just evolve, regardless of what this person does. It is not necessarily a mark of failure. And I want you guys to actually note that your marriage did not work. It's not that you have failed. It's just that it did not work for whatever reason, right? So it is not, I believe that it is not a mark of failure.
Sure.
But for couples who have had children together, it's a new season of parenting. So how do these couples co-parent in a way that they don't bring the pain of the past or even the current pain? Because when you're just starting out, sometimes you're still bitter about the way things eventually turned out. How do you manage that initial phase where you're still dealing with a lot of pain? And the reality now is, regardless of what you've done, how much effort you put in, it did not work. But the life of the children must still be tended just like a garden, in a way that is fruitful and productive, not just for them, but also for the generations to come. Because their thinking pattern, their beliefs, their value systems is going to be drawn from how they are parented, from how they are raised.
It's a very touching subject. I like the way you kind of opened up when it comes to the fact that, because when you think you've failed, I think that is the first thing that people suffer a lot. In all of your good intention, you had met this person, things were, it was like heaven on earth for you, and it falls flat, it failed. The way you put it is what I want our viewers to keep locked in front of them. The marriage failed.
Not you.
The marriage failed, not you. Now, we're not talking about two people pretending that everything is honky dory, everything is working is well. No, it's a level of maturity where I would say, you know what, this did not work, but interestingly, we had children from this union, and those children have a life to live, and we ought to be a part of that. So I'm going to put aside a bit of my childishness, a bit of my vengeance, or I want to get my peace back, and I'm going to make it about those children. Now, one of the things we'll talk about, we'll look at the fact that you have to be healed first, which is what you also mentioned. A lot of times people try to give what they don't have. I can't give you healing if I don't have healing. I can't give you recovery if I don't have recovery. So you need to understand that, okay, this ended. Now we have the children to raise. At least we can do that well. We don't have to be best buddies. We don't have to be, phone tagging ourselves. That's not the idea. The idea is I have to put aside a lot of things, be matured enough to say, okay, now we have children. How do we raise them? What's God's plan for them? And then sit down and work that. So when the meeting is about the children, you're there. Hey, okay, what do we do? How do we do this? And you're monitoring. Now, when you're separated, it means that either one of the parents has the children and the other one is away from the children. Now, sometimes you might have an arrangement where, okay, I see the children weekends, but you must be involved in the lives of your children. And you, the spouse who the children are with, don't try to fence the other person or, and try and look good, try to give the children the impression that I'm the best of the parents and I'm the one that loves you the most. It always backfires every time. It always backfires every time. You see, let me tell you, let me share something with you. God was wise when he decided to bring man and woman, and from that union raise children. He knew that it's going to be challenging for either to do it alone. You
Mm.
need the strength of the man, the vision of the man. You need the tender of the woman, the
They
drive
need
of
to
the woman.
complement
So that
one another,
complement is what
another's
brings
strength of
raises
them.
what I call a sound child into this. Now there are sometimes someone is saying to me, said, "What about my spouse was died, he passed." You know,
Mm.
funny enough, I don't know how God does it. He seems to, that adage that the cow that don't have tail, God drives his fly. God just comes in and puts extra grace around that parent that is left because the other one died. Now, in the event where the other one is somewhere, for some reason, most of us don't take responsibility. Your dad should have done that, your mom should have done that, and we don't give it all. But when the other spouse is late, then you find out that you have grace to be both dad and mom for the child. And you can go into those roles whenever they are needed so that that child
Yeah.
can grow up because God is present in the child.
Thank you so much for bringing this up. Should we then say that, in a different kind of grace is available because just because the person is late, right? So you don't have to deal with the pain of being disappointed.
Hmm.
Your significant other being late is different from him or her
Big way.
departing you, choosing to leave you. In this case, you know that it is not their choice. So maybe some of the challenges, separation or divorce is hard. We cannot minimize that. It is difficult. It is a difficult emotional burden to bear. How does a spouse navigate the need to detach romantically from a spouse while still navigating the pain, the disappointment, but also stay present for the children? You're managing a lot of emotions at the same time. When breakups happen like this, you know, sometimes there's the two of them, but you find sometimes it's just one person that really just wants to move on. But you find out that, you still need to help yourself detach from all the things you once shared, maybe love, romance, and all of those things. And which is why sometimes a lot of pain is present, right? So while you're trying to detach from that, how do you stay present with your children without developing any negative emotion for these children because they are a direct, um, what's the word I'm looking for? They're a direct cause of that relationship.
That's a In fact, as you were talking, I was imagining the pain in itself. I think that the first mistake that most people make is they're trying to co-parent while they're still bleeding.
Mm,
Now, first of all, if it's ended, it's ended. So come to that, wake up to that. It's painful. It's gonna hurt. Yes, but come to that reality first of all. It's ended. Now, what do I do next? Because if you're still bleeding and you don't deal with that bleeding, you will take that blood into that relation, into that work with the children, and that's what would destroy them the most. You see, understand that these are your children. One thing they don't want to see is you hurt or you going through pain. No child wants to see that. Do you understand? So you want to try as much as it lies within you to make sure that you can get the healing you can get as quick as possible. Will it be overnight? No. Will it be something a week? Maybe not. A month? Maybe not. But understand that my first approach is I need to stop the bleeding first. I need to heal myself. And what we said in our previous episode was if you need to go into your room and lock yourself and cry, do that. After that, make up and come back again, clean up and come back again, wash your face and come back. But this is your reality. This is where you are in your own life's journey. So deal with that bleeding first. Deal with your hurt first. Deal with your pain first.
yeah.
Don't you see this pointing finger? If you did this, if you had done this, you have to understand that it won't help you. It just makes it worse for you. It just increases the pain. So make sure that anything that increases the pain you cannot push away. It will not happen overnight, but after a while you start to get that into your flow.
Mm.
Okay, so this has happened. This person has moved on. This has ended. Okay, we have children. We have three lovely children, two lovely children, whatever. So what are we doing now? How am I living for them now? How am I a model for them now? Not how is she or he a model for them. No, how am I a model for them? That's the only thing you can control. I can't control what the other person does. I can control what I do. So how am I going to be a model for them? And if I have modeled wrongly, repent, Lord, I'm sorry, help me be a better mother, be a better father. But you have to understand that co-parenting is not about two people who are hunky-dory, hey, what's up? That's not what it is. It's about two people who have come to maturity and as they have taken the responsibility for their children.
Okay, thank you. I would like to ask Sam, what are some of those boundaries that you can set? Because sometimes you can easily receive mixed signals or interpret mixed some signals as mixed signals, even though the other spouse is not intending to do that. But because you're constantly in the same space, trying to, well, not physical space, but I'm saying that you have to come into parenting. So you find out that, one of the things someone um, I was coaching once said to me was the most difficult thing about divorce is the fact that this person has hurt me so bad. To make healing easier for me, I'd rather just really not have the person around at all so that I go fully into myself and find a way to heal. Then, when I'm healed, it's easier to relate with this person. Unfortunately, for couples who have had children together, it's a luxury they can't afford because the children are there. They have to parent together. So you see that you still have to be with this person while you're still trying to heal. So, what are some of the boundaries you can set to aid your healing while you're also trying your best to co-parent?
The best way I want to approach that is this. Most of the time, you have to sit down. So we've come to an agreement, it's ended, all right. So the children are there, yes. We have to cooperate, yes. So what are the things that we want to do? Where do we, you understand, what are the things we want to show up for them for? When it comes to healthy boundaries, you do that initially. When you're sitting down, now that you know that we have to show up for the children, we're not showing up for ourselves, we're showing up for the children. So you want to make sure that you sit down and say, hey, listen, some things like, hey, listen, you can't just show up in my doorway because you want to see the children. Let me know so I can prepare. I can give you the extra key to my house so you can come at any time.
Simply because your children
Your
are
children are
here.
here. So remember, it's about the children, which means you want to determine to show up for them. That's the key word. Show I want to show up for the children.
What do you do when the other partner does not respect this boundary? So they just show up at any time and you've had communication about this, that you can't just show up at my house without letting me know.
You don't let them in. You don't entertain it. If you don't do that, you someone said to me years ago, it said, don't complain about what you permit. If you allow the other person to come into your space whenever he or she wants to, then you don't complain. But if you know you don't want to, you can start to put checks because you know this person. Come on, you're being very close. You know this person. You know when they want to, start issues so that they can flare up or something. Deal with it. You just quench it. You don't become that dump for the person anymore. That's what you do. And as you said, enforce that boundary. You know what? Remember what we said. You might even have to write it down so that it becomes like a legal binding, and you keep reminding yourself or keep reminding your ex-spouse that this is for the children. So if it's nothing about the children, really, I don't want to hear it, or we don't need it.
Yeah.
You don't need it. And if you do that after a while, and he or she finds out that, okay, this is not something I can throw at them or I can lean towards them, they start to also create
Eventually.
other alternatives for themselves as well, so that they can wean themselves from that area. But if you have a spouse that stops us hitting you or it becomes violent, then you would have to see seek external help, number one, and then keep it around the children. Make it about just keep it around them, because so you don't get if you get emotionally torn, you're upset, you're not happy. How can you say that? How can you do that? It will reflect in the way you deal with the children. So don't get into that. I call it drama as at all. So stop it from the get-go. This is not we're not letting this happen. And if last time you called, remember you spoke, terribly at me. So if for the next 1 minute, I won't take a call, you can call. So don't bother calling. If anything happens to the children, I'll let you know. You understand? These are the things that so the person knows that there are repercussions for every action that they take or every action that they make. Once they start to say that you're firm with that through God's help, then it's easy for them to let you be. That's the thing, or respect your boundaries, or put into perspective the fact that this person is not the person I used to kick around or tell what to do. She's person an entity now, and we're not together anymore. So I need to respect them, and that's it. And you command respect. That's it.
Thank you. Lastly, how do you set clarity with the children on where things are? And I think this is one of the painful processes that you would have to go through.
It's a very delicate area when it comes to all of this. The other things I think you can manage yourself, but when it comes to unpacking this for the children and letting them understand, you have to consider how old they are, first of all. So that, as you said, you don't tell them too much. But what I think I want you to really, really put in perspective is your prejudice, your perception. Because you see, if you communicate that to them, that's all that they will hear. That's all that they will see. That's all that they will feel. So listen, um, talking to your son or your daughter, you know, two people can come together and feel things don't work out between them, not because they are bad people, but because they just can't stay or can't do or whatever it is together. Talk to the children from a place of, you are not being judgmental of your spouse. You're not pointing finger. You're not trying to let them, because that's what happens. You're trying to win the child to yourself. So you're trying to make the other person look bad. Very easy thing to do. But when you do that, they see you too as bad. So speak with them honestly, freely from your heart, but let them know that things are not the way they are, and daddy had to move out, mommy had to move out, or whatever. But we still love you. You know, you're still the center of our joy. And once you do that from that heart of love, and not trying to put down the other person or you're better than the other person, they feel that and they would understand. And they may not like it initially, but they will grow up to say, okay, that's how it is with us. And that's it.
Thank you so much. I really like what you said about, ensuring you're not speaking to them from your prejudices or from your perspective. That's really important. Our question for today: what do you do when your partner doesn't communicate or shuts down during difficult times, but you still have to make parenting decisions together?
One of the things you want to do when it comes to that is you have to bear the infirmity of the weak. Because you know the child's life is based on this. So where the person decides to shut down and you try to get them to be a part of it, make the decision and then bring them into it. Hey, listen, while you were, I know you had a difficult moment. We had to do this. This is what I did, and then share that back with them. Don't make the decision and then sit on it and say you come and ask them when you're done. No, make the decision and then let them know. So carry them along, carry them along, carry them along, bring them along. So decide what is best for the child, and then say, listen, when you weren't available, I had to do this. I hope it's okay with you. That's what you do. It's easy when you do that. You're not trying to lord it over them. You see as a privilege. You weren't available, whether it's a man or the woman. I had to step in and decide. I hope it's okay with what you think.
Yeah, and
It's how
that's
they.
good. Guys, our confession for today: my child is not a casualty of my past. I choose wisdom over war, peace over pettiness. I co-parent with clarity, boundaries, and grace. God redeems this season and covers my child with peace, even as I cooperate with God to give my child peace in this season. And that is it, guys. Thank you guys for joining us on today's episode. We encourage you to please send in your questions to chrisoluwakemi@gmail.com, showing on your screen right now. Thank you for joining us and see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Life and relationship.